Okay, so we're going to get into how to create symbols, what symbols are, how they can be useful. Um, Here I've got a shape tool selected, a fill and a stroke, and um, let's say you're drawing something all on one layer, okay, which a lot of people like to do. And so if I have this, and then I have another shape like this, but I want them together. It acts kind of like Illustrator in a way, where if I move something over on top of something else, um, it will cut away from the object. So if I take this and put it here, and let's say I want to copy and let's paste it in center and move it here, okay. Um, and then let's say I have another shape. I want to create kind of like this robot, you know, kind of a head. Okay, so I've got something like that. Um, but if I were to try to animate something like the eyes moving or something moving on this, um, that would be an issue because I would have to, um, sorry, I would have to be able to move these objects around. So if I get in there closer, oops, let me kind of distorted that. If I get in here and move it around, you see it starts to cut away from the shape. Same thing with this as well. If I take that out, it just cuts away from the whole thing. So I can't move anything around as they are drawing objects, and that's what they are. And so to get around that, because it acts like Illustrator in that way, when you move something, it's just going to cut away from the other objects. So if you're trying to create something, um, animated parts or body parts that need to be animated, you have some different options. So let's say we took something like this and created just a simple, um, some simple shapes. I can reuse that shape. I'm going to reuse, I'm going to do a little bit smaller ones as well. I'm going to do a circle, and actually I'm going to build a person just with these shapes right here, these simple shapes. So here's what I'm going to do. Right now they're just drawing objects. Um, See, I have that right here, object drawing mode. That's what it is. And so if I go to select this, I can move it around, which is great. But once I start to overlap it with something else, it's going to cut away from it. I don't want that to happen. I want this to eventually be an animated thing, but on the same layer as these other objects. So what I'm going to do is right click on it. I'm going to convert to symbol. And right now it's set to button, but I don't need it to be a button because it's not going to be interactive. A graphic symbol is simple, but I want to have its own timeline to be animated on. So I'm going to choose movie clip symbol, and I'm going to give this a title as head. Okay. Now, once I create a symbol like this, if I go over here to library, or if you don't see library show up, go to window and select uh, library from here, and you'll see that object shows up as head, right? So I've got that showing up. Same thing can be done with this. I'm just going to right click on it. I'm going to go to convert to symbol. And I'm going to say, because this is going to be used, I'm going to just call this the body. The body, it's a movie clip. Okay. And so there's body. This, I'm going to right click, convert to symbol. I'm going to call this body parts. This is going to have multiple functions. And there I have three symbols there. Okay. Now, once I have symbols off to the side in my library, these can be duplicated very easily. It makes it really easy to use. So I'm going to take this and kind of assemble my character. Now I can move things on top of each other without them being subtracted, right? So I'm going to choose my free transform tool. I'm going to rotate it, and I'm going to move it. around in place. So I'm going to use my arrow keys as well. You notice it kind of snaps, but you can turn snapping off if you need to. We'll take this piece right here, rotate that as well, and say I want to duplicate parts. So I'm going to take this, drag it out here, and now I've got some simple symbols where I can assemble objects or people or whatever it might be. And so do something like that. So now I've got an assembly of shapes that create kind of a person here. Okay, these can be animated, and can you can go inside of these as well. So I double clicked on his arm here, and you see I'm inside of body parts. Now, because body parts has been duplicated 4 times, if I make a change to one of them, it's going to make a change to all of them. So if you need unique parts, then what you need to know is that each of your parts need to be a separate symbol, not all in the same like mine. So let's say I wanted the head to be something different. I can go into the head and I can change it to something else instead. So I can make it green, and then I can go back out and you'll see it changes that symbol in the library. So if I go in here and choose body parts, and let's say I want to make this yellow. Oops, I did not select it. There we go. Now it's selected. Now I can go here, and now he's all yellow. And same thing with the body is here as well. So kind of see different uses, different ways that you can create objects on the same layer without them actually cutting into each other. Now this character, in order for him to move, each one of his parts would have to be moved separately. But we'll see if we'll get into the next video and talk about some other ways that we can go about animating a character like this without having to actually move every single piece kind of free form like that. So I just want to talk about how to create symbols first. So if you customize a character of your own, or an animal, or whatever it might be sure that you create body parts using symbols rather than just drawing objects. That'll make things a lot easier.